Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Namaha Pankajanaಭಾಯ Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivritta Gunavrittaye Atmaramaya Shantaya Kevalye Pataye Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas and friends, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Granth-raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 15. So we read till text number 29 last time on Friday. I think Amsilas Prabhu facilitated the call. I was not present due to some other service. So we were reading that how Bali Mahārāja attacked Indrapuri. First we discussed the opulence of Indra, and then we discussed how Bali Mahārāja attacked the Indrapuri, and what was the secret of his strength. The secret of his strength, who knows the answer? Anyone? Yes, Kashish Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The secret of his strength was that he surrendered to his Guru, and he served him with all his willingness, and it was his surrender, complete surrender.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, and I was thinking, ordinary becomes extraordinary by taking shelter of Guru. Even Brihaspati said, well, Bali Maharaj, ordinarily Bali and his forces could not achieve such strength. This is Prabhupada's purport from text number 28. So ordinarily, it's not possible. Is it possible for a person who cannot speak, Gunga, what do you call it? Lame?
No, mute, like deaf, dumb.
Dumb, okay. A dumb person to speak songs, is it possible? It's not possible, right? But by the mercy of Guru, it's possible. A lame person, is it possible? Lame is a person not having a leg, right? Is it possible for him or her to cross over mountains? It's impossible. But we say, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete girim. Pangum langete giri means mountain. A lame person can cross over mountains. How? Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatharina. By the mercy of the spiritual master. We have all heard about His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhu, how he is world renowned. So many millions of people follow him. Someone asked him, what's the secret? What's your secret? Where do you get all the strength from? Guess what? He said, he openly in that big audience said, My secret is my spiritual master. The source of my strength is my spiritual master. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, his Guru Maharaj. So basically, that's the secret of a disciple. That's the strength of the disciple, spiritual master. So a great lesson here that how important Guru or what such an important role Guru has in the life of a disciple. So we should never forget that. That ultimately, okay, we may get sometimes after spending a few years in ISKCON, we may get some respect. People may call us, oh, you're a senior devotee. Oh, you give nice class. Oh, you cook nice bhoga. Oh, you do nice kirtan. Oh, you do wonderful this, whatnot. But ultimately, who was I and what am I? I'm just a puppet in the hands of the spiritual master. I'm just a dog in the hands of the spiritual master. So we should just pass on, even if we get some respect, some honor, whatever, we should transparently pass it on to whom it belongs to. And that is Sri Guru. And the Guru passes on to his Guru, and to his Guru, and to his Guru, and ultimately it goes to Kṛṣṇa. And that's basically Evam Parampara Praptam system. So that was his secret, and even nothing could be done because they were very, very powerful. And even Brihaspati said, Indra, when Indra asked, like, what shall I do now? He seems to be, he seems to be like uncontrollable. So he said that only the Supreme Lord can help. So let's see what happens next in the following verses. Text number 30. Tasman nilayam utsrijya यूयं सर्वेत्री विष्टपं यातकालं प्रतीक्षन्तो यतः शत्रोर्विपर्ययः. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Therefore, waiting until the situation of your enemies is reversed, you shall all leave this heavenly planet to go elsewhere where you will not be seen. Hare Krishna. So now the Guru of demigods. Who knows the name? Anyone knows the name?
Then that's
Yes.
Brihaspati.
Shukracharya.
Brihaspati. Demigod's Guru is Brihaspati. So he is advising, he is speaking these verses that now you better leave. Patli gali se nikal jao. Otherwise you will be in trouble. Because they are in power now and you are powerless. Probably you are too busy enjoying the heavenly planets, all the pleasures. We read the nice weather, the Indrapuri had to offer, and therefore in those situations one may forget one's Guru. And if one forgets one Guru, one will lose spiritual strength. If one thinks, oh, I am great, see, I am getting so much respect, oh, I am getting this, oh, people treat me as a wonderful soul, I am a senior devotee now. And one will forget. If one takes that to heart, that means, yeah, people are really respecting me, I must be a really great person. Then what will happen? One will forget Guru. When one will forget Guru, the demoniac forces will take over. And we will lose our position. We'll lose our position as a devotee, as a servant of Kṛṣṇa. And the demoniac forces of pride, lust, greed will take over. So you should never forget Guru, no matter in any situation, in every situation. And therefore, dhyayans tu vamstasya yashastri sandhyam vande Guru Shri Sharanarvindam. Remembering at least 3 times that ultimately We are just a puppet in the hand of the spiritual master. Where was I? If I think I'm great, then we should think that, oh, where was I 5 years back or 10 years back? What kind of things I was doing? What kind of movies I was watching? What kind of friends I was associating with? For some, it could be 5 years. For some, it could be 10 years. What kind of things I was eating in restaurants and bars and whatnot? Of course, some of you may be from a very pious background and may have not experienced the very gross bad things, but ultimately, um, we were not living a Krishna conscious life for sure before coming to Krishna consciousness. So, remembering the spiritual master, if we forget that, we keep busy in the pleasures of this material world, then we'll forget and the demons will take over. Okay, any other comments before text 31? Would someone like to read, please? Yes, Sampradha Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Esa viprabalo darkaha samprati urjita vikramaha tesam eva pamanena sanubandho vinangshati. Translation. Bali Maharaj has now become extremely powerful because of the benedictions given him by the Brahmanas. But when he later insults the Brahmanas, he will be vanquished along with his friends and assistants. Purport. Bali Maharaj and Indra were enemies. Therefore, when Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, predicted that Bali Maharaj would be vanquished when he insulted the Brahmanas, by whose grace he had become so powerful, Bali Maharaj's enemies were naturally anxious to know when that opportune moment would come. To pacify King Indra, Brihaspati assured him that the time would certainly come. For Brihaspati could see that in the future Bali Maharaj would defy the orders of Sukracharya in order to pacify Lord Vishnu. Vamana Dev. Of course, to advance in Krishna consciousness, one can take all risks. To please Vamana Dev, Bali Maharaj risked defying the orders of his spiritual master Sukracharya. Because of this, he would lose all his property. Yet, because of devotional service to the Lord, he would get more than he expected, and in the future, in the 8th Manvantara, he would occupy the throne of Indra again. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Back to you.
Hare Krishna. So, what did you learn from this? Want to share?
That in the future, Vamana Dev, Vaman Bhagwan would appear, and then he's gonna take over all 3 planets, and then Bali Maharaj would lose all those 3 planets, and then, but still he's going to be blessed because he's going to get blessings from Lord too. That's it.
Thank you. Very nice. Question. So, which Manvantara is this thing happening? Bali Maharaj
8.
taking the or Vaman Dev taking the or in future. So, in which Manvantara that episode happened?
7th. This current Manvantara, right?
That will be it, Prabhu.
Who all say 7? Okay, raise your hand if you say 7. Bali Maharaj, Vaman Dev taking the world from Bali Maharaj. Who all say it's 7th Manvantara? Raise your hand.
7 Manvantara.
Okay. Who all say that it will happen in 8th Manvantara? Vaman Dev will take the land from Bali Maharaj. Raise your hand. Kashish Mataji, your hand is up in both the cases.
Yes, Prabhuji, you're asking 2 different questions. That one is when
No.
Bali. Okay.
Vaman Dev will take the land from
Bali Maharaj in 8th Manvantar, and this is happening when Bali Maharaj is conquering the kingdom of Indra, And Brihaspati is predicting that will happen. This is happening in 7th Manvantara, I think so. Hare Krishna. This is my understanding.
Okay, so this is a little confusing. Okay, let me, we discussed this point earlier in the chapter 13 also. So the Vamandev story, the 3 steps of land which Vamandev took from Bali Maharaj, that happened in 7th Manvantara. It already happened. It has already happened. That story is in the past. Okay, we discussed that also with 2-3 reasons. Anyone remembers what were the 2-3 reasons to prove that it already happened in the past? Yes, Nandini Mataji will share one, and if you want to share, raise your hand.
We read that Bali Maharaj is already on in the Sutala planet, I believe, and the Ganges have appeared.
The Ganges have appeared. Very nice. Anyone else? Yes. And the context is in the past, in chapter 13, where description of future Manus is there. When Shukdev Goswami mentions about this episode, he mentioned that this has already happened, and then the other ones will happen. So the tense used is also kind of one of the ways we can understand. So yes, and then in future, which we are reading in this purport, if someone gives a lesson, very, very important and practical lesson, if we offer something to Krishna, we will never be a loser. We will get unlimited times more. And the example is seen in multiple ways. Draupadi Mata offered a strand of sari, a small portion of her sari to tie on Krishna's finger, and then she got unlimited sari. The Sudama Brahman, when he went to Dwarka, he took a little bit of chipped rice, broken chipped rice, very dull kind of. From external perspective, it is not very opulent food, and he got palaces and whatnot. So many examples are there. Gajendra offered one tiny flower, and he got ultimately back to Godhead. Any example we take, we'll say that Krishna, one who offers something to Krishna is never a loser. He always is ultimately victorious. Although apparently it may seem, well, Bali Maharaj lost his kingdom, but it's just a short-term thing. The biggest thing is the shelter, the surrender. And a very important other lesson also is, which we can learn, that by insulting Brahmanas or insulting Vaishnavas, insulting Guru, everything will be vanquished. It's also a very, very important. By insulting devotees, Brahmanas, Guru, one will be ruined. That's another also. Of course, that we cannot apply in the case of Bali Maharaj. It's a total different story. We'll come to that later, but the lesson is very important here. That we should never insult devotees, Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, or spiritual master. Okay, so any other comments anyone has?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
In the purport, Prabhupada is saying that, of course, to advance in Krishna consciousness, one can take all risks. So how do you see here? One can defy the order of the spiritual master and can advance. I mean, I understand that this is the exceptional story of the Bali Maharaj, but I am not able to understanding Prabhupada's meaning here. One can take all the risks.
Yeah, one can take all risks in the sense, it's a nice question. Preaching is risk, right? So we should not take like blind risk. Yes, Nandini Mataji wants to say. Yes, Mataji. Can you please unmute?
Oh, thank you for letting me speak. Dandavat Shri Bhavilaska and Prabhu and all the devotees. So what to speak of rejecting Shukracharya, Madhavacharya in the Vaishnava Sampradaya had to reject his own guru because he compared the back of monkey to the lips of Vishnu, I believe. So when a spiritual master's instruction is against advancing in Krishna consciousness or making an is letting you, if his instruction is letting you make an offense to Krishna or to complete extent to his devotees, then the scriptures say you must reject that spiritual master, even in Vaishnava Sampradaya. So he is in demonic Sampradaya where Shukracharya is his guru, and his instruction is not to surrender unto Krishna. I mean, every scripture says that Sarvadharman Parityajam Mamekam Sharanam Braja. So here Bali Maharaj is trying to surrender to Vamandeva, and Shukracharya is going against that. So in that way, you should, at that point, you should reject the Guru. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. In our International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we see devotees have taken so many risks. Prabhupada risked his life, correct? To give us Krishna consciousness. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. One can take all the risks. So, of course, now we are not in that state of Srila Prabhupada to take, to do that artificially. What were the words of Bhakti Charu Sai Maharaj before he came to United States? He said, even if I have to die, I'll die in the battlefield, like a warrior. So these were his words when he gave lecture in Ujjain before coming to US. So if some of you may have seen, salted by read drama or watched some movie or drama or read book, so much risk they took to spread Krishna consciousness, risking their lives to share books, to share the holy name. Prabhupada got so many heart attacks while on Jaladuta. Even in the United States, he was there. Life was not very rosy cozy. So many attempts to kill him were made by the people whom he was staying with. So at every moment, his life was at risk. And it also reminds me of the verse from Samudra Manthan Leela. I'll read it for our purification. Tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha parama aradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha. It is said that the great personalities almost accept voluntarily suffering because of the suffering of people in general. So voluntarily suffering can also be said to be as risk, right? Accepting, like Shivji Maharaj, Lord Shiva is drinking the poison. Isn't he taking risk? Right? That's taking risk. Voluntarily accepting suffering is risk. Why? Because he can't see the suffering of others. This is considered as the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. So we read that verse recently. So now what does that mean to us? To us, it means that at least we try in our level to not be just always laying in the comforts of our own bed and family life, and this at least take something. At least once a week I'll do something for Krishna consciousness, or once a month I will do, or every day. Now everyone's situation is different, everyone's spiritual desires are different, but at least start from where we are currently and take the next step. We can't go and around the world and start preaching Krishna consciousness, but we can do our part. Voluntarily accepting, let's not say suffering, it's actually not suffering, the literal meaning. It's like voluntarily accepting service or sacrifice for a higher cause, which will please Krishna. Like I'll just quote yesterday's example. Like Sudhir Prabhu and Renuka Mataji hosted such a nice Nityam Tridashi program. Is it easy to, make 56 preparation? Is it easy? It's not easy, right? To make 56 preparation. It's not easy. For those who do, I know it's not easy. I know very little cooking, but it's not easy to make 56 offering. It's not easy to open the doors of our home and heart and invite, guests, 20, 30 people, serve them, make sure they're comfortable, to do our best in a selfless way. It's not easy, right? But in that way, it's our voluntarily offering. So at least we can do in our small way. We're not saying to give up family, we're not saying to give up home, but we're not saying to go behind the iron curtain, because we may not be at that. I'm not at that level, but at least I can do my part. We all can do our part to voluntarily accept some austerities for a higher cause. So we should take risk. That's basically, risk. Anyone has more thoughts, additions? Any other risks we can take?
Sorry, Prabhu, I misunderstood question. I'd like to just add one thing. Jay Shetty, one of the very nice preachers right now, he took a risk of leaving the job to preach, and it has worked wonders. And you're also doing so much, and so thank you so much to you. I'm sure you could have gotten, for all the time you devote to us, you can do much better in your material life. So thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So in every aspect of Krishna consciousness, whether it is, distributing books, isn't it risk? Because this person on the street may come and say, "Hey, what the hell are you doing here? Get out! You don't have anything." They may, treat very harshly, and devotees have faced such kind of words, but they take the risk, right? Sometimes, they may throw tomatoes. Sometimes they may speak harsh words. Sometimes they may. So again, we should not even, try to, like, let's say, oh, I'll go to the bar alone and take the risk. So we should take a calculated risk in with guidance of other senior Vaishnavas. That doesn't mean that we go to a late night bar and that too single-handedly and say, hey, I'll just preach Krishna consciousness. So we should be a little intelligent also. So we have to take the right steps and so but too much also, like, so again, balance is the key. Balance is the key. If Krishna pushes and we act sincerely, intelligently, and also with the guidance of seniors, we'll be okay. That's a letter correspondence by His Grace Mahatma Prabhu. So if Krishna pushes and we act sincerely, intelligently, under the guidance of senior Vaishnavas, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, etc., then we'll be okay. So risking the life, risking that doesn't mean that we also, okay, I'll give up my job, I'll give up my family and just preach. That may be a little too much. Okay, let's move on. Is that okay, Umesh Prabhu, to your question?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nandini Mataji, for the clarifying.
Okay, let's read the next verse 32. Would someone like to read this one? Umesh Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam to everybody. Text number 32. Evam sumantri trastharste guru nartha nudarshita hitva trivipishtam jagamur girvana kamarupinah Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shukadev Goswami continue. The demigods being thus advised by Brihaspati for their benefit, immediately accepted his words, assuming forms according to their desire. They left the heavenly kingdom and scattered without being observed by the demons. Purport: the word karma rupinaha indicates that the demigods, the inhabitants of the heavenly planets, can assume any form they desire. Thus, it was not at all difficult for them to remain incognito before the eyes of the demons. So here we see that after the advising by Brihaspati and all the demigods, as it looks like now, they left the heavenly planet. Whatever they desire uh, to have their own form, and that's what it has been mentioned here. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, one good thing is that they followed the instructions of their Guru. The Guru said, without any delay, patli gali se nikal lo. So they also became invisible and just left the heavenly pleasures and kind of moved out. It was time to move out because they could not match the strength of Bali at this point. So, and they all moved out, and very important point is that they also have a lot of who goes to heavenly planets because they have done a lot of pious activities, karma khanda, right? We discussed that. People in the mode of goodness go to heavenly planets, upper planets, to enjoy the fruits of their reactions or actions, that is pious karma. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha. Urdhvam means upper, up, upper. Sattva, people in the mode of goodness. But again, we see what's happening here. What's happening here? Their holiday time is over, right? They collected some pious karma, as Bhagavad Gita mentions. A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. From the lowest and to the topmost planet, the position is not eternal. They were there, but their position is still very shaky. Shina Punya Mrityu Loka Vishanti. So when the time was not favorable, all their strength is diminished. Now the demons have come over. Correct? So why to try to go to a place where the pleasure is short term, where there is no true pleasure? So devotees don't aspire to go to heaven or Swarga or upper planets, because see, there are also a lot of stress and anxiety. Correct? They were there. Correct? Where do they want to go? Where devotees want to go? Yad gatva nani vartante tad dham paramam. No stress, no anxiety, no kunta, vaikunta. So that is eternal happiness. So let's see what was the next situation of the demigods and the demons when the demigods left Indrapuri. Text 33. Would someone like to read? Yes, people read.
Represent devotees, Dandavad Pranam, always to Srila Prabhupada, text 33. Devasho atho nilon eshu bali boirochana purim devo dahanim adhisthaya pasam ninne jagat trayam. Translation by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Joy. When the demigods had disappeared, Bali Maharaj, the son of Virochana, entered the heavenly kingdom, and from there he brought the three worlds under his control. Back to Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So quite straightforward that Bali Maharaj was very, very powerful. Again, we discussed what was the strength, what was the source of his power. Pleasing spiritual master. So it's a very nice lesson. The blessings of Guru are more powerful than one's personal endeavor. It's a very important lesson. The blessing of Guru are more powerful than one's personal endeavor. And there are multiple stories actually, multiple stories. In Madhvacharya, there was a bull. There was a bull, and then Madhvacharya made the bull speak the verses. Just next week there is, I think, appearance or disappearance day of Rasikananda Prabhu, the disciple of Shyamananda Prabhu. He gave initiation to a mad elephant. Can you imagine? Mad elephant, wild elephant. He gave initiation to a mad elephant. And then the elephant would go forest to forest and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, and make everyone else also devotee. Can you imagine? He would not hurt anyone. He would just speak about Krishna and the glories of his spiritual master. So all our Vaishnava bhajans, Mangala Charan, any prayer, any book we read, any writings, first they glorify their Guru. They glorify, because ultimately whatever we are is by the mercy of spiritual master. By carrying out the order of the Guru and by his pleasure, one can get extraordinary power, especially in spiritual advancement. Especially in spiritual advancement. Even for material life, one needs a teacher. For spiritual life, the word Guru is, and spiritual master is million times more important. What does word Guru? We discussed in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 also, when we're talking about Gura Kesha. Gurak means darkness, Gur means darkness, Ru means destroy, one who destroys darkness, or one who removes the darkness from the life of a disciple is Guru. By the sword of knowledge, by the lamp of knowledge, Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. One who were born in the darkest of the ignorance, doing all sorts of nonsense things, but it's only by the mercy of the spiritual master who awakens with the light of knowledge and brings us to the right path. So, but we should be very careful in choosing Guru also. On the name of Guru, there are a lot of cheaters also in this world. There are a lot of cheaters, a lot of swindlers, so-called Guru. Just by the word Guruji does not one become Guru. But just by naming Jagat Guru, one does not become Jagat Guru. So you should be very careful. It's a very big topic, but ultimately it's the most important thing. So we should. And if we are sincere, like Dhruva, Krishna will arrange the spiritual master like Narada. I always like this line. If we are looking for the right thing, then Krishna will arrange for the right thing. If we are looking for a cheap thing, then Krishna will arrange for a cheap thing. Very simple. If you want, I want a Guru, but he should not, put any restrictions to me. I can eat what I want, I can do what I want, but I want Guru also. Then we will get such kind of Guru. That Guru will say, okay, eat what you want, drink what you want, do what you want. No worry about bhakti and all. Leave it. Just give me some donation. Rest, everything is fine. then Krishna will send that kind of guru in our life, or so that kind of so-called guru, because that's what we are looking for. But if we are looking for pure bhakti, Krishna, I really want pure bhakti. I really want unalloyed bhakti. I'm willing to pay the right price. I'm willing to do what it takes to get that. Please send me the right spiritual master in my life. Then Krishna will send that kind of spiritual master in my life. So, very big topic, but we'll keep it short here. Again, very important. Okay, next verse 34. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Tam Vishwajayanam Shishyam Bhargava Shishya Vatsala Satena Haya Nidhanam Anuvartam Hayajayan. Translation by His Divine Grace and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu, being very pleased with their disciple, who conquered the entire universe, now engaged him in performing 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices. We have seen in the dispute between Mahārāja Prithu and Indra that when Mahārāja Prithu wanted to perform 100 Ashwamedha yajnas, Indra wanted to impede him. For it is because of such great sacrifice that Indra was made king of the heaven. Here, Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu decided that although Maharaja Bali was situated on the throne of Indra, he would not be able to stay there unless he performed such sacrifices. Therefore, they advised Maharaja Bali to perform at least as many Ashwamedha yajnas as Indra. The word Ayajayan indicates that all the Brahmanas induced Bali Maharaj to perform such sacrifices. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Any comments, Prabhu? Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So here we are seeing that the descendants of Bhrigu were very pleased, and and they have that Bali Maharaj has conquered, but still he has to go through and do these Ashwamedha yajnas. Only then he will be able to rule over, and that's what Prabhuji. I think here Ayajan indicates that all the Brahmanas induced Bali Maharaj to perform such sacrifice, and also here Srila Prabhupada is giving a good comparison, like how Prithu Maharaj also wanted to do, but at the 99th, after the 100th one, Indra was always trying to disguise as a Brahmana, sometimes like that, and always trying to impede his. I think Lord Brahma informed him that okay, you don't need to do it. You have achieved even more. So with the blessings of Brahma, Prithu Maharaj decided not to do it. So that's the comparison I trying to understand, Prabhuji. Please explain. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very nice. So we read that story in, I think, 5th canto. Yeah, this comes in the 5th canto. So he did a bigger sacrifice. To sacrifice one's false ego is the biggest sacrifice than any of the Ashwamedha Yajna. To listen to the spiritual master, as Sudhir was mentioning, at 99 yajnas, and doing these Ashwamedha Yajna is no joke. It takes a very, very elaborate arrangement to do one, what to speak of doing 99. So stopping at 99, only a pure-hearted, humble, selfless servant of Guru and Krishna will adhere to it. When Brahmaji said, please stop, my son, please stop. Indra is no, not listening, but you are a better son, kind of. You listen. So that's a very great lesson which all the devotees emphasize. Prabhupada emphasize in this purport. And in every class, you'll see the Indra kind of how Prithu Maharaj heard or to the good advice of Brahma. That's much more glorious than performing the Ashwamedh Yajna. And of course, we discussed if one listens to Guru and Krishna, that person will never be a loser. It will always gain unlimited times more. So I know there are 2 verses left, but let's complete this chapter and then we can. They're small only. So Lakshya, Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Tatastad Anubhavana Bhuvanaraya Vislutam Kirtim Diksu Vitanvana Sareja Udurad Eva. Translation. When Bali Maharaj performed these sacrifices, he gained a great reputation in all directions throughout the 3 worlds. Thus, he shone in his position like the brilliant moon in the sky. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Lakshya Prabhu. So he started to perform these yagyas, his name, fame, everything growing. Quite straightforward. All across the 3 worlds, the demigods are already out of picture because they couldn't match the strength. So let's see what happens next. And one last verse for today. Anyone would like to read?
I can read them.
Yes, please.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Babucha cha Sriyam Sruvadham Dvija Dvipo Palabhitam Krita Kriyam Ivatmanam Manyayamno Mahamanaha. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because of the favor of the Brahmanas, the great soul Bali Maharaj, thinking himself very satisfied, became very opulent and prosperous and began to enjoy the kingdom. Purport. The Brahmanas are called Dvijadeva and Kshatriyas are generally called Naradeva. The word Deva actually refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmanas guide human society in becoming happy by satisfying Lord Vishnu, and according to their advice, the Kshatriyas, who are Naradeva, keep law and order so that other people, namely the Vaishyas and Shudras, may properly follow regulative principles. In this way, people are gradually elevated to Krishna conscious. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 8th canto, 15th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Bali Maharaj Conquers the Heavenly Planets. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So here, basically there is discussion of the Varnashrama system. There are 4 ashramas. 4 varnas here. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Brahmanas are basically compared to like the head, which give the direction. And what are they supposed to do? To give the right direction. That means how to serve, happily satisfying Lord Vishnu. They guide the human society. Nowadays, only action is emphasized. The direction is not emphasized, right? action is emphasized. Therefore, Prabhupada said, the Western culture means action, a lot of action, a lot of material progress is there, but the direction is missing. So Prabhupada said, like, you are like a strong man, but he's blind. You ever heard the story of a blind and a lame? So the blind, one person was blind but strong. The other person had the eyes, but he was lame. But so then there's a nice combination. The person having eyes can see and give the direction, but he cannot walk. So the person who is strong carries him on his shoulders so that he can be guided, and the strong person who is blind they both can reach the right direction. That's basically interdependence. So Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra, or Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Our society is a society of interdependence. Even in ISKCON, we all are interdependent. We all need each other. We all need to support each other. We all have unique strengths and unique weaknesses and unique abilities and unique challenges. So we all need to support each other, help each other to gradually elevate ourselves to Krishna consciousness. So that's one ashrama system. What's the goal? To satisfy Krishna, to keep Krishna happy. So the Kshatriyas are supposed to provide the law and order, the administrative class, the Vaishyas, the business class, and then the Shudras, those are supposed to serve the other. Everyone is serving, but in different capacities. Brahmanas are also serving the society. Shudras are also serving the society, but in different. And these are all by qualities. It's not by birth. We have discussed this many times. One need to develop the qualities of Brahmana to be Brahmana. Just by wearing a thread, Prabhupada says multiple times. Thread is how much? You're getting this thread you get in the market. Nowadays, earlier it was 25%. Now it may be 1 rupee or 2 rupees in India. 5 rupees at max. I don't know. Or in US, $1, $2, right? That's all it takes to become Brahmana. Or so it's by qualities, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra, etc. So, and of course, Vaishnavas are above all these things. You need to try to develop those qualities and help each other to gradually elevate to Krishna consciousness. Any other thoughts or comments? Anyone has any additions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. At end of this verse, the word come Mahamanaha. Similarly, I remember one of the shlok from the 10th canto when the Nanda Mahotsava happened. Shukracharya was chanting the shloka, and that goes like Shri Shuka Uvacha Nanda Swatamaja Utpanne Jata Yado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vishan Veda Jnana Snanat Shuchir Alankruta. So at that moment also, Nanda Mahāṛāja, with a great enthusiastic mind, he was giving lot of charity when Lord Shri Krishna appeared in their house. And that was the description Shuka Maharaj was giving to Parikshit Maharaja. So I just remember with that Mahamana word. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Any other comments before we pause? Prabir Prabhu, did you want to say something? You were trying to unmute, sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, then we will pause for today. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Kripasindhubhyascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hari Bol.